Welcome, I'm Bill Brewster, and this is Drywall Techniques. Today's segment is Series 7, using automatic taping tools. So at this time, let's check out some of the tools we'll be using today. On this segment, we'll be using the Bazooka, roller, the Glazer, an angle pump, a box handle, a 10-inch box, a 7-inch box, and a drywall pump. On this segment, we'll be using a Tape Tech Bazooka. Most bazookas in general are pretty much all the same, except for a few different little parts. Before we start taping, let's go over the mechanics of the bazooka. When the taping compound is pumped into this fitting here, it pushes down a plunger connected to a cable that goes all the way down to the end of the bazooka. This gate right here, you can push open. This plunger will go down and it'll open up the gate that's inside the head through here. And once the wheel starts turning, the mud and tape will come through here. The tape will be automatically mudded by the bazooka. Underneath the creasing wheel is the feeder pin. This pin is inside of here. When you advance the sleeve that's on the bazooka, will help feed the drywall tape up into the head of the bazooka. At this point, we're ready to put the drywall tape on the bazooka. So what we'll do is take this pin out and take your drywall tape, slide it right on the spindle, feed it around. After repeating through the spindle area, pull the tape, slide it up in the sleeve right through here, right past your feeder pin, up into the head. So with your tape on the bazooka, we have the gate in a closed position. You're ready to start filling your bazooka. Plunger goes down. So basically on your first butt joint, or you're taking off on your first flat, you give yourself a little bit of tape to start off with. It's always good to have about 2 or 3 inches of tail, which we call, to lead off with. It's a good habit to always tape your butt joints first before doing your flats. This being a butt joint, a non-factory edge, and this is a flat being a factory edge. Before you start taping, make sure all the imperfections, loose paper, are off the board. That way you don't have blistering, a problem with blistering underneath your tape at a later date. Okay, so we're ready to start taping. We got about a 2-inch tail on the bazooka. So as I ran that out, you got your 2-inch tail. Feed it a little bit with the feeder, walk it up the wall, about 2 or 3 inches from where you want to stop. You stop, cut. I'll do another one for you. You run the wheel against the wall and feed. Use that feeder right here. You got your starting point. When you start going up the wall, the bazooka will, the tape will have a tendency to drag a little bit. So you may, in some instances, leave a little bit more of a tail. That way, if it pulls up the wall, you won't have a untaped section on the bottom or whatever you're taping. So move up the wall, come up to the area that you want to cut, and make sure you come to a stop before cutting, because that will just jam the bazooka. Cut. Using a bazooka gives you a chance to reach these higher joints from the floor. A bit more of an advantage. When you're running production work, it's always a good idea to have one man on stilts, one bazooka man, and one man down wiping. When you're wiping down your tape, make sure you wipe it down tight with no wrinkles. At this point, we're ready to start running out some angles. So you get yourself that little bit of a tail on the end of the bazooka. You can hold the tape with your little finger to keep it from sliding. When you run your angle out, be sure to use that creasing wheel. Then you're ready to roll and glaze it. When you use a roller, you start off in the center, just like when you wipe tape. You always start off into the center, and then look at both ways. Then use the glazer. The glazer end, this tip always goes in the direction that you're wiping. The glazer head gives you a nice crisp corner. When you roll it out, you start in the center. When glazing out your wall angles, start off at the bottom and work your way up to the ceiling. When you do your ceiling angles, start at one corner and go to the other. When rolling out your angles, you start off in the center. also slide the tape with the roller to adjust it if necessary. Now you're ready to glaze. After you rolled and glazed your angles, you're ready to start picking them. Make sure when you wipe them in, you wipe them in clean. Make sure that the corner is nice and crisp. Well, at this point we have our tape coat completed. Now we're ready to start coating the flats with a 10-inch box. The 10-inch box is less complicated to use than the Bazooka. Basically you have two springs. This flap right here, as the box handle fits onto this area here, presses in and applies the mud onto the flat through here. You have a few adjustments for the box itself. All the way open, which is basically used for butt joints when you want to split something out. But basically you want to run your flats either on 2 or 3. That way you're not crowning out your flats or you're dishing them out too much. We'll be using a telescopic box handle. It has a brake and it adjusts out quite far for using on tall ceilings. When using the box, the brake is very important. When running a flat, you go down the wall in such a manner, using the front wheels, and press. As you press, it coats out the flat, and when you come to an end of a wall, brake, lift off. Brake, lift off. And when you're coating out butt joints, low butt joints, you flip the box over, brake, and pull all the way up. When you're doing upper walls, same idea. You brake, push, pull down, lift off. So when boxing out your flat, you get your box firmly against the wall and start pushing. You box the flats off first, then you do your butt joints. The flats will run on 2 or 3, like we said earlier, depending on the recess that you have. It's always good to check them as you go. And the butt joints are run on usually 4 or open. Use your brake to have control on the box, and then run one side of the flat, the butt joint, then run the other side. Pull down, then lift up. Pull down and lift up. Make sure you brake and lift up at the end. You don't run your wheels. That way you don't run your wheels over the top of your flat. When boxing out the lower butt joints, use your brake, flip the box over, split the tape on the butt joint, pull straight up, straight up. Make sure you don't pull through the flat with the wheels. Brake, lift up and pull so you don't pull through the flat. At this point, our box work is done. We're ready to start coating on our angles. So we'll be using the angle pump, and we'll be using the angle head that we used for glazing when we did our tape coat. The mud comes out, fills these cavities right through here as it goes down the wall and coats the wall. So let's start getting these angles pumped out. It's always a good idea to start off at the bottom. Pull up. Then you pull down to it. It puts a nice even coat on your angles. Well, we're at the end of our segment. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Drywall Techniques.